When was the last time you looked at your XRP, your XLM, and your HBAR together? Not as three separate positions on three separate charts, but as a single combined portfolio moving toward a single combined destination. Because most people holding all three are doing their mental accounting separately. Checking XRP one day, checking HBAR the next, watching XLM, and feeling something different from watching the other two. And the result of that fragmented thinking is that they never actually see the full picture of what they are building. They see three pieces. They never see the portfolio. Before we get back into today's video, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I truly appreciate every single one of you for your support, your likes, your comments, and for sticking with the channel. It really does mean a lot. And it helps this channel continue to grow. Now, it's time to give a shout out to our subscriber of the day, Des Southworth. Thank you so much for subscribing, Des. I really appreciate your support, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you're enjoying this kind of content and haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel, and I'd love to have you along for the ride. All right, with that said, let's get back to today's topic. Today, we are going to see the portfolio together for the first time with verified price targets for 2032 scenarios, conservative and bull, real math, and the tier system that tells you specifically where your combined position lands and what it actually means for your financial life in 4 years. But first, the freshest piece of data I want to anchor this whole video to. 6 days ago, Daily Coin published analysis from a popular YouTube crypto analyst called Money and I, who doubled down on XRP, XLM, and HBAR simultaneously as the three core long-term real-world asset plays, noting $4 billion in tokenized RWAs now live on the XRP ledger, spanning more than 500 products. Noting that this RWA market is already 4 times larger than the entire XRP ETF sector. Framing the current correction, all three assets sitting well below their highs, as a Warren Buffett-style 10-year accumulation opportunity that most retail investors are missing because they only want to hold for 10 minutes, 3 assets, 1 thesis, 1 destination. 4 years. Let's find out where your combined position lands. First, let me establish the verified price targets for each asset by 2030. These are sourced from documented analyst projections, not community estimates. XRP. Conservative scenario, $4 to $5. I will use $4.50 as the clean working number. This is the floor of the mainstream analyst consensus from CoinCodex, Light Finance's multi-model average, and the conservative end of the Yahoo Finance analyst panel. It assumes moderate regulatory progress, ETF inflows growing but not accelerating dramatically, and Ripple expanding corridors without dominating global settlement. Bull scenario, $20, sitting between Standard Charter's $28 target and Bitwise's bull case of $29.32 and the mainstream. Panel's upper range of $10 minus $15. $20 is a credible midpoint bull case that requires Clarity Act passage, ETF inflows scaling past $5 billion, and Ripple capturing meaningful, swift corridor share. Conservative scenario, 75 cents, consistent with Coinfomania's documented $20.30 average, and multiple other platforms projecting XLM reclaiming a portion of its previous cycle peak without exceeding it. Bull scenario, $3. Coinfomania's $20.30 high sits at $4.42. Coinpedia's favorable scenario reaches $6.19. $3 is a credible bull anchor that requires DTCC full integration, continued RWA growth on Stellar, past the current $3.35 billion, and the post-2028 halving cycle, creating altcoin season conditions. HBAR conservative scenario, 87 cents. Benzinga's aggregated multi-source forecast treats 87 cents as the 2030 bull case, contingent on enterprise integrations generating consistent on-chain volume. I am using it as the conservative scenario because most other platforms sit below it. Binance consensus at 22.6 cents, Cryptopolitan at 23 to 30 cents, Benzinga at 87 cents as their best case. The honest conservative range runs from 22 cents to 87 cents. I will use 50 cents as the clean conservative midpoint. Bull scenario, $2.20. Coinpedia's fundamental adoption model requires Hedera expanding its enterprise use cases, continued ETF inflows through the Canary product, and DTCC integration converting from testing to production volume. Current prices, XRP $1.10, XLM 18 cents, HBAR $7.05. Now, let's build the tier system. 5 tiers, named for the journey these 3 assets represent, from entry level to the top. And for each tier, I'm going to show you the combined portfolio value in 2030 under both scenarios. The tier names. In this community, we talk about the building happening underneath the price. So the tiers reflect stages of that build. The foundation tier, the builder tier, the architect tier, and the sovereign tier, foundation tier, the realistic starting point for someone who is genuinely interested but hasn't committed deeply. 1,000 XRP plus 5,000 XLM plus 10,000 HBAR. What this costs today: 1,000 XRP at $1.10, $1,100, 5,000 XLM at 18 cents, $900, 10,000 HBR at $7.50, $750. Total deployed today, $2,750. Conservative scenario 2030, 1,000 XRP at $4.50, 5,000 XLM at 50 cents, 10,000 HBR at 50 cents. Combined conservative value, $12,000 from $2,750 bull. Scenario 2030, 1,000 XRP at $20, $20,000, 5,000 XLM at $3, $15,000, 10,000 HBR at $2.20, $22,000 combined. Bull value $57,000. From $2,750, the foundation tier in the bull scenario produces $57,000 from under $3,000 deployed today. Not retirement, not life-changing in absolute terms, but a genuinely significant return on a modest investment that most people watching this video could realistically build right now. Builder tier. The tier for someone who has been accumulating deliberately and consistently. 5,000 XRP plus 25,000 XLM plus 50,000 HBR. What this costs today: 5,000 XRP at $1.10, $5,500, 25,000 XLM at 18 cents, $4,500, 50,000 HBR at $7.50, $3,750. Total deployed today, $13,750. Conservative scenario, 2030, 5,000 XRP at $22.50, $22,500, 25,000 XLM at 50 cents, $12,500, 50,000 HBR at 50 cents, $25,000 combined. Conservative value, $60,000 from $13,750, a 4.4 times return. $60,000, the annual salary equivalent for many people. Bull scenario 2030, 5,000 XRP at $20, $100,000, 5,000 XLM at $3, $75,000, 50,000 HBR at $2.20, $110,000. Combined bull value, $285,000 from $13,750. Over 20 times your money, $285,000 from under $14,000 deployed today. The builder tier in the bull scenario crosses the $250,000 mark from $13,750. This is the tier where the combined portfolio starts producing outcomes that actually change trajectories. Architect tier, the tier for the serious conviction holder. 20,000 XRP plus 100,000 XLM plus 200,000 HBAR. What this costs today: 20,000 XRP at $1.10, $22,000. 100,000 XLM at 18 cents, $15,000. 200,000 HBAR at $7.50, $15,000. Total deployed today, $55,000. Conservative scenario 2030, 20,000 XRP at $22.50, $90,000, 100,000 XLM at 50 cents, $50,000, 200,000 HBAR at 50 cents, $100,000 combined. Conservative value, $240,000 from $55,000, a 4.4 times return, generating $240,000, approaching the $250,000 mark even in the conservative scenario. Bull scenario 2030, 20,000 XRP at $20, $400,000, 100,000 XLM at $3, $300,000, 200,000 HB, $2.20, $440,000, combined bull value, $1,140,000 from $55,000, $1.14 million. The first tier in this system where the word millionaire applies in the bull scenario. And in the conservative scenario, $240,000 from $55,000 is a 4 times plus return. That still represents significant life improvement. Visionary tier. The tier for the holders who have been building through multiple cycles and who have made meaningful capital commitments based on deep thesis conviction. 50,000 XRP plus 250,000 XLM plus 500,000 HBR. What this costs today? 50,000 XRP at $1.10, $55,000. 250,000 XLM at 18 cents, $45,000. 500,000 HBR at $7.50, $37,500. Total deployed today, $137,500,000. Conservative scenario 2030. 50,000 XRP at $4.50, $225,000. 250,000 XLM at 50 cents, $125,000. 500,000 HBR at 50 cents, $250,000. Combined conservative value, $600,000 from $137,500, a 4.4 times return, producing $600,000 at the 4% rule. That generates $24,000 annually. Supplemental retirement income from the conservative scenario alone. Bull scenario 2030, 50,000 XRP at $20, $1 million, 250,000 XLM at $3, $750,000, 500,000 HBAR at $2.20, $1,100,000 combined, bull value $2,850,000 from $137,500, $2.85 million at the 4% rule. That generates $114,000 annually from $137,000 deployed across 3 assets today. The visionary tier in the bull scenario is a retirement event, not a supplement, a full financial independence event from a single combined portfolio deployed at current prices. Sovereign tier, the tier for the highest conviction, long-term holders who have built positions that reflect years of deliberate accumulation. 100,000 XRP plus 500,000 XLM plus 1 million HBR. What this costs today, 100,000 XRP at $1.10, $110,000. 500,000 XLM at 18 cents, $90,000. 1 million HBAR at 75 cents, $75,000. Total deployed today, $275,000. Conservative scenario 2030. 100,000 XRP at $4.50, $450,000, 500,000 XLM at 50 cents, $225,000. 1 million HBR at 50 cents, $500,000. Combined. Conservative value, $1,200,000. From $275,000, conservative scenario, $1,200,000. At 4% rule, that generates $48,000 annually. Modest retirement income from the conservative scenario alone. Bull scenario, 2030, 100,000 XRP at $20, $2 million. 500,000 XLM at $3, $1,500,000. 1 million HBR at $2.20, $2,200,000. Combined bull value, $5,700,000. From $275,000, $5.7 million. At the 4% rule, that generates $228,000 annually. This is the sovereign outcome, financial freedom in the most complete sense of that phrase. Now, I want to give you the specific thing that makes the combined portfolio approach more powerful than holding any single one of these assets alone. And it comes back to the daily coin analysis from 6 days ago and the Warren Buffett framing that analyst used. Most people who hold all 3 of these assets are unconsciously diversifying the specific risks that each asset carries. XRP's primary risk is RLUSD cannibalism, Ripple's own stablecoin potentially replacing XRP as the preferred settlement instrument for institutional flows. XLM's primary risk is SDF supply overhang. 21.25 billion tokens with no fixed distribution schedule, creating uncertainty. HBAR's primary risk is the mechanism gap, enterprises using the network through structures that don't always create open market HBAR demand. These three risks are different. They do not all materialize simultaneously from the same cause. An environment where XRP faces RLUSD headwinds might be exactly the environment where HBAR's fee mechanism shines, because both are capturing institutional settlement demand through different structures. An environment where SDF distribution creates XLM supply pressure might be exactly the environment where XRP's tightening. Exchange balances are most visible. The risks offset each other in ways that holding any single asset cannot replicate, and the returns compound together in ways that single asset holding cannot replicate either. At the architect tier, the conservative scenario produces $240,000 and the bull scenario produces $1,140,000. That range, $240,000 to $1.14 million, represents a spectrum of outcomes that the combined portfolio covers through its diversification across 3 different adoption mechanisms, 3 different supply structures, and 3 different institutional catalyst timelines. You are not holding 3 separate bets. You are holding 3 different expressions of the same thesis that the financial system is migrating toward programmable, instant, borderless, settlement rails, each with its own catalyst timeline and its own path to the same destination. The foundation holder starts at $2,750 today. The sovereign holder starts at $275,000. Most of you watching this are somewhere between builder and visionary, and wherever you are in that range. Whatever tier your combined portfolio sits in today, the math across both scenarios tells the same directional story. 4 years, 3 assets, 1 thesis, multiple paths to the same destination. If this video showed you your combined portfolio for the first time, if it replaced 3 separate chart checking habits with a single unified picture of what you are building toward 2030, please smash that like button, because there are XRP, XLM, and HBAR holders checking 3 separate apps every day without ever seeing their combined wealth tier. The like puts this in front of them. Subscribe, because this channel finds the frameworks that connect your individual positions into a coherent portfolio story. That is different from tracking 3 prices separately, and it is what 2030 clarity actually requires. Here's the comment I want, and I want real answers. Which tier are you in right now? Foundation, builder, architect, visionary, or sovereign? And which of the 3 assets represents your largest position by dollar value today? Not by token count, by dollar value. Tell me the tier and the asset. I want to see how this combined portfolio community actually looks. Share this with anyone holding all 3 who has never run the combined math. 3 pieces do not make a picture until you see them together. Give them the picture. Know your tier, hold your portfolio. 2030 is closer than it feels. Have a great day. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to join my free Telegram community with the link on my channel where I post my daily crypto experience and arbitrage opportunities you can't get anywhere else. This is XRP Hobart, signing off.